Hello. If you watch my last video, you might realise I'm wearing exactly the same clothes because it is a bit later on the same day that I finished filming the April roundup. Um, yeah, and I've just been sitting up in my craft room. I've done some more weaving and decided to pull out some knitting and watch a few YouTube podcasts and both that I've watched so far have been doing like a vlog style. So I have tried to do some sort of vlog style before, and even last month, like I did a little snippet and then I just completely forgot. So who knows whether this will even see the light of day. But anyway, I'm Christine. I'm known pretty much most places on the internet as Yarn About Yarn. All my links will be down below in the description of this video. Links to Ravelry, Facebook, email, Etsy, Made It Store. Yeah. I was sitting thinking I'd actually packed up a few things after I finished the last video, and I took that Calypso sweater downstairs because that's my TV evening knitting. And I do have like shelves in front of me here, which are full of whips. At the beginning of the year, you might remember I started with 21 whips. I have cast on a few things and finished a few things. I'm not sure what my actual whip count is today, but I was thinking I really want to make some more progress through some of my older whips. I know some of them aren't that far off being completed, and I do have some new cast-ons coming up. Kristen from Skein Yarn, she's an Australian yarn dyer who lives in Coffs Harbour, is coming up to her, well, I think it is her 15th anniversary of being an indie yarn dyer, which is just absolutely amazing. And she's holding a Skein Yarn make-along starting on the 1st of May. So I will be casting on, and I ordered some of her yarn, one of her newer yarn bases to try. So I'll show you that when I actually do the cast on. So yeah, I've got that cast on coming up. And then last night I came across this pattern that I was really taken by. It was a big spur of the moment purchase. The only way I could get the pattern in English was to buy the book, and I looked at the book, and there are quite a few patterns in the book that I would like to make, so I did buy it, and I have ordered the yarn for this project, so I'll show you that when it arrives. So I know I've got 2 new cast-ons coming up, which I really would like to get stuck into when I do start them. So I thought I really should be working on my older whips as well to try and get through those. And the Calypso sweater that I showed you at the end of the April video is one of my older whips. And so is this one here, which, let me see if I've got the part of the pattern that tells me what it is. I've also got my board with all my whips written on it. I think it might be the Melody sweater. Yes. The Melody sweater by Claudia Q. So you can see it's got the lace, or maybe you can see, it's got the lace in the yoke. It's also got lace on the cuffs and the hem. This is knitted bottom up, which is not my preferred way of making something. So you're knitting, yeah. So I've done the body up to the armholes, and I don't know whether you can see the lace pattern on the bottom there. So the body up to the armholes, I've done 1 sleeve. So it's got the lace, that pretty lace pattern around the cuff. I've got a sleeve. I think the reason I've been languishing on this is the fit it's quite a fitted sleeve, so I'm going to be stretching that out when I block it. So I've got that sleeve done, and I'm well on the way with the second sleeve. I finished the increases, so now it's just knitting straight until it matches the length of that one, and then they'll all get put on the needle and the lace yoke will be knit. Once that's done, it goes a lot quicker because you are decreasing, even though it is lace. So what I'm using for this is a cone of Holst Garn, super soft, and the colour is Tyrian, which is this really deep purple, which is quite lovely. And I'm holding that with Rowan Kid Silk Haze. Like I said last time, Rowan Kid Silk Haze is a favourite. I don't know what the colour is, 678, but I'm not sure of the actual name of the colour. There is a bit of a difference between them, but that just gives this lovely sort of colour. Yeah, so I am knitting those together. I do have another big cone of Holst, which is in Kingfisher, I think it is, which is a greeny blue colour. And that is actually on my Make 9. That's something I need to get stuck into as well, my Make 9 projects. Some of them are in progress and some haven't been started yet. So yeah, I'm just going to work on this for a little while. The one thing about having a lot of whips is if I get bored with this, there's plenty of other things to knit. So I'm just going to work on this for a little while, and we'll see if I can keep up this vlogging sort of style for the rest of the month. I am noting down rows, so I do have to keep stopping and noting the row because I want these to be the same length. And the only problem with chatting and not looking at my knitting when you're knitting with two strands is I've got to make sure I keep them together. I just missed the mohair strand there. So that's what I'm up to this afternoon. I'm just having a break from weaving, and during the week sometime I'll start getting, I've got all my weaving stored in the building wardrobe in plastic tubs. I'm going to have to start getting all that out so I can see exactly what I have got for the weekend show next weekend. I won't have to take a lot of my mannequins and racks and things because it's only a table space. It's not a, usually I get a 3x3 space at a lot of shows I do, but this is just a table. So I have to sort of take as much as I can, but not have it look overcrowded. So just a little bit of everything. And if people seem really interested, they usually ask, you know, do you sell anywhere else? Do you have a website? So I can point them in the direction of that. But we're hoping for a good weekend. As I said last video, it is the day that we go to vote. And also it's the weekend before Mother's Day here in Australia. So we usually find sales on that day is quite good because people know that we have the weekend exhibition and sale the same, you know, the week before Mother's Day. So people sort of know that they can come and find a piece of art or craft or whatever, that something a little bit different for mum. So yeah, mostly this coming week I'll be getting organised for that. And once that's sort of passed, then the next big thing I've got is the Celebration of Sari exhibition in Clunes in Victoria. I won't be going down this year, but I do need to try and get one more garment finished. I'm in the process of weaving the cloth for that. If I don't get it finished, that's okay. I've got other things that I can send down. I'm hoping to send 5 pieces in total to that. So I'll show you those probably later on in this video, because they will need to be sent in about the middle of May. So yeah, let me know how you're going with your projects, what you're getting up to, how you're going. I know a lot of people were talking about doing stash downs and whip downs at the beginning of the year. My stash down was more going through my stash and working out what I wasn't going to use, and that's what I have listed on my destash at the moment. I'm still buying yarn like that, all that Kid Silk Haze I bought last month, and like I said, I've put in a big order for some yarn last night, which yeah was a bit spendy, but with the book especially, but it's a project that I'm quite excited about starting, and I think it will also be an enjoyable knit as well as something that I will get a lot of wear out of. So yeah, I'll chat more about that probably later in this video, because the book will have arrived and the yarn will have arrived. So yeah, talk to you soon. So you may have seen those Kato ball winders advertised on Instagram. I did get one, and I was a bit skeptical, but it seems to be working okay. So this yarn's a bit sticky. This is the Skein ACM yarn that I'm going to be using for the Skein make-along that starts in a couple of days. So I thought I'd better get it wound. I am still doing some weaving for the show this weekend, so the ball winder is working away while I can do some weaving. So I'll be casting on the Kumo pullover, which is this one here by Eri Shimizu. It's got a bit of a pattern on the saddle shoulder, and it also has the option to have pattern on the cuffs, which I don't think I'll do. I think I'll just do plain ribbing on the cuffs, and I won't be doing the excuse me, the split hem. But yeah, so the yarn that's called for is the Uncommon Thread Cloud Fingering, which is the exact same makeup as Skein Yarn's ACM, so there shouldn't be any problems substituting that. So I'm using this colour, which is called Char, which is a greyish colour, you can see, and that's it there. It's baby alpaca, Pima cotton and merino. In the past I have had issues with alpaca, finding it quite itchy and even getting sort of a rash on my hands, but this seems fine. I don't know whether it's because it's the baby alpaca and it's a lot softer. Some alpaca yarns are fine, like the Rowan-Felder Tweed I think has alpaca, and I don't have an issue with that. So yeah, I've got 4 skeins of this, which I think is going to be more than enough. So I'm going to wind up a couple so I can do some helical knitting. So I'm just going to let that continue in the background while I get on with a bit more weaving. Okay, my parcel has arrived with the book and yarn that I was telling you about earlier. So we'll just open it up. And let's see what's inside. Beautiful yarn from Isayo. So we've got the Jensen yarn and we have some Spinny, and more Jensen and Spinny. The pattern also calls for, I think it's their alpaca one, which I couldn't get all the colours at this particular store, so I've had to order that from a different store. So that will be coming. Just pop that up there. I'll show you the yarns a bit closer and the colours when I actually get to casting on the project. But I just want to show you the book. Now I've noticed some of the patterns in this book are available to purchase as a single pattern, but the particular one that I wanted is not. So I've had to buy the book, which is okay because there are quite a few patterns in here that I would like to make eventually. Oops, just bumped the camera, sorry. Okay, so here it is. It's A Knitting Life by Marianne Issager. And after all that packing, one little corner is a bit bent, but anyway, not to worry. So it's a beautiful big hardcover book, over 190 pages. This is one that I would like to make, and I think it is available as a standalone pattern. Just looking for the one without trying to show you too much of the actual book. That one is absolutely gorgeous, Sakura. And this one is gorgeous, Garden Life. I also like this one, Kansai or Kansai. Plus there's just beautiful pictures when you get a book like this. I mean, look at that, absolutely gorgeous. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and having a good look and read through this. That's also stunning. So is that one. And that one. I need to find the one that I actually bought the yarn for. Which is this one. It's called Borrow, as in B-O-R-O, and it's borrow as in that Japanese technique of where they would patch their clothing by just sewing bits of fabric over the top. So this is like a shortish jacket, cardigan type thing with a lot of textured stitch patterns to look like it's patched and mended. Let me just see what's on the next page. Okay. Pattern page. I'll go there and see if there's any more pictures that I'll be able to show you. That one there. It is knit in pieces, from what I understand. A bit of a gauge swatch there, so you can see how it's different stitch patterns. So it's going to be very interesting to knit. Yeah, so I am looking forward to starting that. Tomorrow is the cast on day for the skein make along, and I've actually started winding up the yarn, which you saw in the last clip. So I'll just show you the sort of ball that ball winder has created. So it's actually quite lovely. I don't know whether you can see in the camera, you can see there's sort of some purple bits through there. In real light, this ball is actually a little bit darker than this one, so that's why I want to do some helical knitting. I didn't look too closely at, like I said, I had 4 skeins. I didn't look too closely. I just grabbed a couple and wound them up. So I'll be casting that on first. That gets cast on tomorrow, I think is the 1st of May. It shouldn't take too long to knit, but I also think I'm going to start winding up the other yarn and maybe make a start on this one as well. I'll chat to you soon. Hi, it's Friday the 9th of May and it's 5 o'clock, so it is starting to get dark here. And I just wanted to talk about something that had been doing this afternoon, but I thought if I filmed it, you would see a lot of my messy studio. So I thought, why not just show you what it looks like anyway? So I'll see if I can just pop the camera around the other way, and this is what I am dealing with. I did do a big cleanup, and I had basically had the floor looking fairly empty, but as you can see, I've got my larger Saori loom out. It normally folds up against the wall there with my piccolo, but because I have the tubs out, which have my weaving, because I want to get some photographs done to put some more of the weaving on the Made It store, and I have been working on that piece that's on the loom. It's just been left out, so floor space is precious at the moment. I don't have a lot. I do have some of my wall hangings up there and a naked mannequin. We'll have to sort her out. But yeah, as you first come in, I've got some warping equipment there. This trolley is some fibre for spinning, and that yarn in the bag is what is currently on the Saori loom. Under there are all my bobbins that are for the loom that have already been wound and used in other projects. This is mostly sewing equipment here. A lot of my yarn is stored in here, and swinging around I have more yarn there. Some of these cupboards hold some sewing equipment like my text stuff, different tools, other bits and pieces, but basically the ones at the top are projects that I want to get started. So I have the yarn and the pattern, or mostly the pattern, ready, and then I have some whips down here. This tub here is the yarn that's up for destash. This one has got some woven fabric and different patterns that I use for when I'm constructing my woven garments. Yeah, so what I've been working on, I had a whiteboard with my whips written on it, and you can see I'm watching Shauna Stitches and working on this, which is what's it called, the Aran Garter Stitch cardigan, which I cast on last weekend when I needed just a simple project for when I was sitting at the craft fair. So I do have my whiteboard there, which has my whips written on it, but I don't know, it just wasn't doing it for me. So I was watching a podcast earlier, and they were talking about how excuse me, how they had photographs on their notice board of I think it was things that she wanted to make or different ideas. So I thought, I'm going to print out pictures of all my whips to keep me accountable and give me that visual impact. So I've got one of those Instax mini printers. So I basically had screenshots of my whips, and I've been printing them out, and you can see there's quite a few. They're not all current whips, but they are whips that I have started, and some of them are ones that I have the yarn and the pattern for, like the joinery I have the yarn and the pattern for. The heirloom quilt cardigan I have yarn and pattern. I've just wound some of the yarn. This one I have the yarn. That will be my travel project later in the year, but I do want to cast that on and get a bit of a start. You can see I've got 3 up here where I'd run out of film. One of them is my Make 9 pick, which is included in the rest of this. So yeah, I've ordered yarn for that one. I have yarn for that one, yarn for that one, yarn for that one. possibly the majority of them are cast on. Some of them, like the Ellen cardigan, has half a dozen rows done on it. Same with Recalibrate. I don't even know whether I've actually cast that on yet. Threadbare only has a few rows started. So they're not really whips, but they're whips or wannabe whips. So you can see there's quite a lot, and it's filling up all that side of my notice board. I don't have room for anything else. So I'm going to be referring to that as my whip wall and not allowing another one to join the whip wall until there is space. And ideally it would be good if two came off before another one went on. But yeah, I just thought I would show you my messy studio and show you what I've been up to this afternoon. Good morning, everyone. It's a little bit early and I'm not sure I've woken up yet, but as I was getting dressed, I thought it's Me Made May, and which I don't normally take part in, but I thought I'd just pop on just to show you what I'm wearing. I think I may have shown this like ages ago, but it's something that newer people may not have seen. I've just got my computer here so I can get the information correct. This is Davis and it's by Pam Allen, and it was initially designed for Kestrel, which is a 100% linen, but as you can see I did not use linen. I used Joe Sharp Silk Road Aran, which is, let me see, wool, silk and cashmere. So it is quite thick being Aran, but it's lovely and soft. The only thing being Aran weight is that it is thick and it can be warm. So the reason I can get away with wearing it in this climate, which you can see is quite sunny today, is that it does have this wider neckline, and I've also done like a, 3/4 half sleeve. So this is the Joe Sharp Silk Road Aran, and I didn't have very much of it, so it is reasonably cropped, but I also made it go a bit further by putting in this Noro yarn, which is Noro Silk Garden, which is also the Aran weight one, and it's a silk mohair and wool in these blue and green tones. So yeah, that's Davis by Pam Allen, and I think it's an older pattern. Yeah, it's from 2014. So that's that one. We had the craft show last weekend, and I did take a little short snippet of video, but it was pretty horrible. It was just my table set up, and all we had is a table. So I don't know whether I'll bother putting it up. There's really not much to see on that. But I did want to take some knitting with me for when it was quieter moments, and also I'm there sitting there for 2 days, so I like to have something to keep my hands busy, and I don't want to be sitting in the corner looking at my phone. I want to be there to be able to interact with people as they come up to my table and to have a chat to them about the weaving. So I also wanted a project that I didn't have to look at all the time, but would keep my hands occupied. So all the projects I have ongoing, even though I have a lot of whips, I had nothing that was suitable. So I ended up casting on a new project, and it's also in Aran weight, which is the Aran Garter Stitch Cardigan. And now this is a pattern by Audrey Wilson, who goes by the Design Studio. And I've just had a look at her designs. She does a lot of Aran weight, and it doesn't look like she's had a new design out for about 5 years. But yeah, it's just, I'll show you the yarn first. It's in a hand wound ball. So it is, what am I using for this one? Gone past the page. It's Noro Teo, which I think is a wool. I'm not sure if it's 100% wool. So this is just, as the name of the pattern says, garter stitch. It's knit in one piece. It starts at the back, and there's only one size in the pattern. but it is meant to be oversized. So depending on how big you are, it'll be more oversized on some than others. It starts at the back in one piece. So you're knitting up from the back. You start doing some shaping. It's got like a dolman batwing sleeve coming up over, and then the two fronts. So it's difficult to see because it is quite big now, but that is the back, and then you can see the shaping out for the sleeves. So at the moment I'm just working on the sleeves. I'm not sure how much yarn I have because I just have balls like this wound, and I can't even remember where I got it from. I could have weighed it, I suppose, but anyway, I'm just, yeah, working through the balls. When I get to the end of the ball, I'll try and find another one where I can match the colours. Like if it ends on a brown, I'll start with a brown, just so the colour progression isn't too jarring. But I'm quite happy with how that's working up, and it is knitting up fairly quickly. So yeah, one size. Oh yeah, what I was saying is I'm not sure how much yarn I've got. So I did think about doing more length in the back before I actually started the sleeves, but I thought what I would do is just work it to pattern. And if I feel it is a little bit too short and I have yarn left over, I'm just going to make a band that goes around the bottom. But yeah, I'll just do it to pattern for now and just see how that goes. I'm quite happy. Like, it's a fairly basic pattern. I have actually queued another couple of her garments because they are basic. They seem to all be basic garter stitch, simple shapes, which I quite like to wear. And yeah, there were a few little things in the pattern, the wording of different things that I had to sort of think about, okay, how is this being constructed? What did she actually mean here? But nothing too bad. So yeah, I'm quite liking that. And it's easy to knit on, so it's good for like Zoom meetings or just mindless knitting. I'll show you the other projects I've been working on as I pull those out. Okay. May 18th, and I figured it was time for another update. I'm just working on my ranunculus, which is one that I finished a number of years ago, that was made out of, I got the tag, Quince & Co. Kestrel, which is 100% linen. This is in the colour ash. I can't remember when I first made this. I should have had a look, but it's always been just that little bit too short. Like, I made it cropped, but it's short, you know, an inch or two too short. Like when I put my arms up, it sort of raises up too high and shows my belly. And I've always said that I would like it a bit longer. Well, I knew I had another skein in my stash, so it was time. So I undid the cast on. It's knitted top down, so I just undid the bottom cast on for the rib, pulled the rib back, and yeah, just adding some more length. So I've got a full skein. I don't want to add too much more length, but I'd like at least 2 inches, I think. So we'll just see how we go. I have noticed though my gauge is slightly looser many years later. I think it's because I am getting some arthritis in my fingers, so I'm probably not holding the yarn as tight and pulling the yarn as tight. But yeah, I probably should have gone down. This 6mm needles, I probably should have gone down to a 5.5, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just throw it in the wash before I wear it. I'm actually feeling like I'm making some progress on some things. I've been going through my wardrobe and culling my wardrobe, and that's where this came about, because I'm only putting things back into my wardrobe that I feel comfortable wearing and that I know I'm going to wear. And as much as I love this linen ranunculus, it was just that bit too short. So it's not going back in until I've added the extra length. You can also see I've cleared off my table and got my sewing machine out, and there's a pile of things there that I want to make some adjustments on. Take hems up. There's a tunicky sort of top that's got a ruffle around the bottom, and I just don't wear it because of that. So I'm going to try chopping that off and hemming it. Yeah, so doing those. I have actually finished something. I finished the Friday sweater that I was knitting out of the Morris & Sons Empire 4-ply. So there's two colours. The colours I used were chalk and chalk, says the other one. Chalk and I don't know what this one is, this brownie colour. Yeah, so that's finished. Obviously not for me, to size 1 to 2. Still a little bit damp. We've had so much rain. Trying to get things dry is just impossible. But yeah, so that's the Friday sweater. I was concerned about the size at first with the neckline, but then I realized I had done it with the wrong needle, so I ripped it back and redid it, and then the actual body. But blocking has made it like, yeah, it's just plumped up, and I did you know, stretch it out into shape a little bit because it's a broken rib, so it was being drawn in quite a bit. So hopefully that will fit and get some wear. So I just need it to dry so I can pop that in the mail. I have been working on, now because I finished that, I call it my downstairs project, which is what I knit during the evening while the TV's on. So I've taken down my Cozy Comfort Throw, which is just a giant garter stitch blanket that you've seen before, that I'm making out of minis and a bare yarn held together. So yeah, I've nearly got to the stage where I've finished most of the actual blanket, and then I can just start the I was going to say iTunes. I caught around the edge. I've just had a message pop up that's very distracting. We'll get rid of that. Yeah, so I'm making great progress on that, and that is going to be great when I can, you know, work out how much yarn I've actually used in that, because that's going to be quite a, you know, a few thousand meters of yarn in that one, so that'll be great. I've also made some progress on I'm looking up at my board where I showed you, where I've got all the photos. What was it? Now I can't remember. The Kumo that I cast on for skein yarn. I've made some progress with that one. I've actually joined in the round and started knitting down the body, so got a couple of inches done there. It's so light, like it weighs nothing. I'm not sure what I think of the fabric it's making, because it is a thick and thin sort of mohair, so it is getting that thick and thin sort of texture, which I don't think is as polished looking in a jumper, but I think this is just going to be a big oversized cozy chuck on at the weekend when it's raining and cold outside sort of jumper. So that one is coming on. The borrow cardigan or borrow jacket that I showed you in that book, all the yarn has arrived, and I'm actually going to do what it says and make that little swatch first. I have made a start, but I'm not in a hurry to do too much of that. I want to get a couple of other things finished first so that I can really concentrate on that. The other thing that arrived was the monthly sock club for May, which I have cancelled, but I knew I would get May because, you know, that payment already comes out. And I'm actually quite happy that I did get this one. The pattern is by Mary Jane Mucklestone, who you might know for her colour work. And these are the Daisy Drift socks, which are very cute. Not in colours that I would have chosen for myself personally, but I mean, they do look lovely. And the yarn is absolutely beautiful. The main colour was already wound for us, and you can see just how soft and squishy that is. It's absolutely beautiful. It's 80% Australian SRS non-mules to merino and 20% nylon. So that's the main colour. And then there are quite generous plump skeins. I'm not sure what these weigh, maybe 50 grams. Maybe, I don't know, I'd have to weigh them and have a look. Beautiful. And I was actually looking at the pattern because I thought, oh, I really don't feel like making any socks. And I don't want to make socks at the moment. But the pattern is top down, but it has an afterthought heel, which I've never done before. And I've never done like full-on colour work socks like this before. I'm a bit worried about the fit because I've heard with colourwork socks that they can be difficult to get on. I mean, I did the Alma socks, I suppose, which had the colourwork at the top, but nothing like full colourwork like this. But I was reading the pattern and it is recommended that I think it's a 2.5 for the cuff, the toe and the heel, and 2.75 for the colourwork. So, yeah. I'm hoping that I will give those a go one day, and the yarn too is just absolutely beautiful, so I'd really like to try that. We'll just pop that away for now. So yeah, just a bit of an update, getting through some stuff, getting some whips done, making some good progress on whips. I'm hoping to get the Cozy Comfort blanket finished by the end of the month, but we'll see. In the meantime, I'm going to get back to adding some length to this and get some motivation to get some of that sewing done. Have a good weekend, everyone. As well as the Friday sweater, I also made a little toy to go with the gift, and this is Susan B. Anderson's woolly sheep. It's in a pattern with a woolly sheep and bunny, and I think the only difference is the ears, and the bunny will have a tail. So that's the woolly sheep. It was made from a pure wool from Spotlight. I think it was their 4 Seasons pure wool. And the reason it's green is I made it to go with this book by Mem Fox, Where is the Green Sheep? So yeah, it was quite a simple pattern to follow. She's got some videos to help along the way. It also helps if it's a non-superwash wool so that you can get some felting done on the body, but just be aware not to over felt it because you do need to pick up stitches for the legs on the bottom of the body. I had some rather large gaps and I knew if I stuffed it directly that the stuffing you'd be able to see the stuffing. So what I actually did was I had a little black drawstring bag that I popped inside the body, and the stuffing went inside that. So that way you can't see it, and the stuffing's not going to come out. So yeah, that's my little woolly sheep. Hello everyone. Well, we're into June, and I never did get to finish up this video. I've been sick for the last week, so I'm just going to leave it here. As you can see, I've got some finished items to get to the end of the month, and I'll talk about those in the next one. Hope you are all keeping well and getting lots of crafting done and staying warm in Australia as we now head into winter. Take care everyone, and I'll chat to you next month. Bye.